In the headlines, PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar in court as tribunal adjourns case to May 18. Zamfara residents set agenda for incoming administration, list security, education as priority. Leader of proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, to remain in detention as Supreme Court adjourns case till September. And on the foreign scene, United Nations urges halt to Sudan conflict as fighting rumbles on despite talks. Hello and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining. And now the details. The Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal has adjourned continuation of pre-hearing in a petition filed by presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, challenging Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president to May 18th. Noel Samson reports that the presidential candidate was personally in court with other party chieftains.
The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, accompanied by some of PDP chieftains, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, accompanied by some of PDP chieftains, were in court to watch the pre-hearing proceedings. Counsel for the PDP candidate, Chris Uche SAN, told the court that the parties in the suit have harmonized their positions on constitutional and statutory issues and document to tender in the case.
As you could see, we've settled the issues and narrowed them down to very definite constitutional and statutory issues, which we need the court to determine. We've also dealt with the issue of reconciliation and streamlining of documents. The parties have agreed to work together and report back by Tuesday on the documents so that tendering of documents will be seamlessly done. Then thirdly, which comes to this issue of the motions, you could see that we served the other parties the motion for the televising of the proceedings. They explained here that they are still in the process of filing their replies. Therefore, we could not proceed without their input. So we don't want to anticipate their response. That's why the matter and this motion and other motions have all been adjourned to Thursday next week. Definitely on Thursday, every party would have filed his replies, and then this motion, this very critical motion, which they admit is very fundamental, the hearing will take place on Thursday, the 18th day of May, 2023.
Meanwhile, Counsel for the Allied People's Movement, APM, who is also challenging the election of Bola Tinubu, Oluwafemi Aweda, said the party is not withdrawing its position.
In the merit of our case, and we intend to follow through to the end. We do not have any link or any relation with other parties that have withdrawn, and we are saying this with affirmatively and with all seriousness and of course with all responsibility that we do not have any intention of withdrawing our petition.
Action Alliance AA and Action People's Party APP have withdrawn their petitions from the court. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Residents of Zamfara State want the incoming administration of Dauda Lawal to focus on addressing insecurity, poor standard of education and poverty within the first 1 year in office. The residents believe that restoring security will boost socio-economic activities and bring about sustainable development. The report.
Zamfara State's residents have high expectations from the incoming administration of Dauda Lawal, which will take over from the current administration of Governor Bello Matawalle on the 29th of May 2023. Some residents of the states like Suleiman Abubakar and Bilyamin Muhammad have rolled out challenges which they want Dauda Lawal's administration to overcome. They listed insecurity, unemployment, poor standard of education, and poverty, among others.
We have some of our people were chased from their town because of insecurity. Some were killed, some were raped, some were kidnapped, some spent more than 5-6 months in bandit captivity. So we want the state incoming government to focus on this main issue, that is security challenge.
The residents are of the opinion that if employment is tackled, it will go a long way to reduce crimes and criminalities. Therefore, they employ the incoming administration of Dauda Lawal to make concerted efforts to provide job opportunities for the teeming unemployed youths. Bilyamin Muhammad, who graduated in 2017 and has since completed his one-year mandatory national youth service but has not found any job yet, is calling on Zamfara State Governor-elect to look into the plight of the unemployed youths in the state.
The state government to focus more on education and poverty alleviation and joblessness to the youth now. Let's say we have about 500,000 youths that are employed in the state. No job, and most of them are educated. Not to say they are not educated, they are educated, but they don't have jobs. The state government cannot offer jobs. I think if the previous government is only does not employ people.
The incumbent state governor, Bello Matawalle, lost the 2023 governorship polls to the PDP candidate Dauda Lawal, who the residents now expect to proffer solutions to their problems.
Bauchi State chapter of the Labour Party has debunked social media reports claiming the party fueled the recent bloody clash in Sang community of Bogoro local government area of the state. Addressing journalists at the party secretariat, the embattled state chairman of the Labour Party in Bauchi, Hussaini Saraki, exonerated the party from the crisis which led to the killing of an elderly man with several houses set ablaze, while several people sustained various degrees of injuries. Saraki, who called all parties involved in the crisis to exercise restraint and allow security agencies to bring the perpetrators to justice, commended the state government for their effort and appealed for appropriate measures to prevent reoccurrence of such incidents.
Would like to distance itself and its presidential candidates from those politicizing the clash. It is unfortunate that some evil people are trying to link the crisis or the clash to the fact that Boko Rotaba and has voted for LP and not PDP, and hence the attack on them. The LP strongly condemns any form of violence and does not support or condone any action that threatens the peace and security of citizens.
The Supreme Court has on Thursday adjourned the hearing of the suit filed by Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, to September 14. Kanu had approached the court to appeal the verdict of the appeal court stopping his release from the custody of the Department of State Services. On October 28, 2022, the Court of Appeal granted a stay of execution on its verdict, which discharged Kanu of terrorism charges filed against him by the federal government. During Thursday's proceedings, the Apex Court granted application of Abubakar Malami, the Attorney General of the Federation, to file additional processes in response to Kanu's motions. Kanu's lawyer, Mike Ezekome, told the Supreme Court that he is scared that his client might die in custody of the Department of State Services. The Apex Court, however, adjourned the matter to September 14, saying that there is no space within its calendar to write and deliver the verdict within the 90-day deadline. Meanwhile, the Ohanaeze Ndigbo has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to release the detained leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. The appeal came on Thursday from the new president of the Apex Igbo Socio-Political Group, Emmanuel Nwanyao. He spoke at the flag-off of the pre-dredging and hydrographic survey of the proposed sea access route of the Urashi-Oguta waterways through Degema to the Atlantic Ocean. According to him, President Muhammadu Buhari should do it before he departs office on May 29, 2023, noting that the Igbo nation will be very grateful if that is done. He also dispelled fears that Igbos want to leave the country. Chief Nwanyao also lauded Buhari for his love for the Southeast, which is reflected in the number of federal government projects in the region. President Muhammadu Buhari has appointed a retiring Assistant Inspector General of Police, Garba Baba Umar, as a senior security advisor on International Police Cooperation and Counter-Terrorism in the Office of the Minister of Police Affairs. According to the presidency, this is to enable Nigeria keep the important position and make way for him to complete his nationally beneficial tenure as an executive member of the International Police Organization, Interpol. Senior Special Assistant on Media to the President, Garba Shehu, noted in a statement that in approving his appointment, Buhari took note of a precedent in which a former executive member, AIG Kamal Zubai, retired, was retained in service by the federal government of Nigeria after retirement in 2018. The president also took note of the fact that during his tenure as a member of the executive committee, AIG Umar assisted Nigeria in many ways, with the hope that in the remaining 1 year, he will even do more in securing equipment for crimes, border management and counter-terrorism for the country, and in helping to get more Nigerians into important positions in the Interpol. AIG Umar's tenure at the Interpol ends in November 2024, while his new appointment as Senior Security Advisor takes effect from 16th of May 2023. Residents of Kaduna villages have raised the alarm that bandits fleeing from military operations in Zamfara state are escaping to their areas to seek refuge in nearby forest. Villagers in remote communities along the Zamfara-Kaduna border towns have reported the sighting of the bandits. A resident, Saeed Damari, said that the bandits had been arriving at the nearby Kuduru forest since Tuesday. Another resident, known as Shagari, said that the bandits operating around the town have threatened to abduct any farmer found working in the farm. The police public relations officer in the state, DSP Muhammad Jalige, said that the command will protect the lives and property of the villagers. He added that the fleeing bandits will not be allowed to terrorize the villagers. Daily Trust reporter in Kaduna, Muhammad Yaba, gives an update on the situation.
Residents of Kaduna villages have raised the alarm that bandits fleeing from military operations in Zamfara state are escaping to their areas to seek refuge in nearby forests. The villagers in remote communities along Zamfara Kaduna border towns are reported to have sighted the bandits who they said arrived the area yesterday. And they also claimed that the bandits, the well-armed bandits, arrived the community on their motorcycles, which made some of the villagers to run for their lives, thinking that the bandits were there to attack them. But fortunately, the bandits decided not to attack them, but rather move into the nearby forest that is named Kuduru Forest. That surround the area. Some of the villagers spoke with confirmed that they were all afraid seeing the bandits in their communities, and they also urged the security agencies and the state government to come to their rescue, because presently that most of these bandits threaten to abduct people and also they are trying to kind of deny them access to their farms. But the state police public relations officer Mohammed Jalegi, when contacted, confirmed that the state government and the security agencies are doing everything possible to ensure that nothing happened to these villagers.
The Nasarawa State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has arrested 2 suspects for allegedly committing armed robbery and rape in different parts of the state. Public Relations Officer of the command, Jerry Victor, made this known while parading the suspects at the command headquarters in Lafia. Abubakar Abdullahi sent in the report as presented from our studio.
Parading the suspects, Public Relations Officer of the Nasarawa State Command, Jerry Victor, said the armed robbery suspect, Isiaka Ibrahim, is a member of 4 syndicates terrorizing the state, especially around Karu local government area. He said Nemesis caught up with the suspects when the command succeeded in tracking a phone stolen by the syndicate along Maraba in Karu local government area. The NSCDC Public Relations Officer explained that the suspect, an indigent of Goza in Borno State, has confessed to committing different crimes and serving different jail terms in the country.
And of course, he has said everything that we need to know. And he has given us a lot of information that is helping the Corps to make sure that we get to the root of this matter. But as it is, we are handing him over to the Department of State Services for them to continue with the same investigation and possible prosecution.
The other suspect, Shagari Musa, was arrested by the NSCDC command for attempting to rape a 2-year-old girl in Nasarawa Egon local government area.
Always telling the general public to be wary of the environment they are in. It is uncalled for, especially for the case of rape. It is uncalled for this kind of thing to be happening in our society.
The PRO said the armed robbery suspect will be handed over to DSS for further investigation, while the rape suspect will be prosecuted before the court by the command. The command called on the public to always assist security agencies with information that would aid their job of fighting crime and criminality in the society.
You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at memories of teenager who confronted suicide bomber. Details and more after the break.
That's great. It's good to see you.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. This is the news update on Trust TV. Now let's take a look at the top stories again. PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar in court as tribunal adjourns case to May 18. Zamfara residents set agenda for incoming administration, list security, education as priority. Moving on, it is 50 years since the creation of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, in May 1973. The scheme was introduced by the then military head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, to foster unity and national integration after the Civil War in 1967. In the spirit of the NYSC's Golden Jubilee, Ibrahim Ismail meets former corps members who settled in Gombe State after the one-year mandatory NYSC service. The report.
This is we that won State Honors Award.
Wow. Aderinto Babajide is a graduate of Arts and Communication from Yaba College of Technology, Lagos. He was deployed to Gombe for the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, in 1999. Just 3 years after the state was created. After completing his service, Babajide was offered an automatic employment by the Gombe State government in the Ministry of Information. For the past 24 years, the 50-year-old has been running art and photography business in Gombe, a place he calls home.
Good to thank Gombe too, because they accommodate us. They treat us like their own. They show love, and the magnitude of appreciation, at least for staying back, is enormous.
Sharing his experience with Trust TV on the occasion of the NYSC's Golden Jubilee, the Lagos-born artist said the Corps had changed his life for the better, stressing that it has been a driver for national integration.
And that's why you see that after the camp, many didn't grow from camp to be part of the society. But for some that listen attentively, you find out that integration is very easy. By and large, NYSC is a good scheme that needs to be maintained. At least for one thing, this unity, NYSC is promoting it better. Because I'm a Yoruba man, I marry an Igbo, staying in Hausa land. It's just a work of NYSC.
Just like Babajide, Bidia Yaro Dawakin Tofa is an ex-corps member from Kano State who was deployed to Gombe in 2017 for the national service. Since then, he has been working as a radio presenter.
I'm now working in Gombe, and this is all because of NYSC scheme. I'm opportune to be one of the NYSC members who immediately after their service, they got job, and recently, as you can see, my life has changed.
While reflecting on his service year in the NYSC 24 years ago, Babajide said there is indiscipline among the current corps members.
The corps doesn't see the NYSC staffs as their masters. It's not regimented any longer because the freedom is just too much. My only advice for the incoming corps members is be meek. It's not about your certificate. It's about what you got to offer.
For these two ex-corps members who found solace in the state after their service year, there is no better place to be than Gombe, a home away from home. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Quite an inspiring story. Now, although Yakubu Fanami passed away on January 25, 2017, while attempting to stop a female suicide bomber from entering a mosque in Kaleri, Borno State, his memory lives on. His mother and close acquaintances share their experiences of Yakubu's life and how his brave actions impacted his community and how his memory continues to inspire hope and resilience in the face of adversity. The report.
6 years after, the pain of losing her only son, who died as a teenager, still lingers for his mother.
My son was a very good boy. One day, he was going to the mosque because he hardly prays in the house. On his way to pray, a congregational morning prayer, the blast engulfed him. I will continue remembering him and praying for him. When Yakubu, my son, was alive, he used to help me a lot even as a student.
Yakubu Fanami was a student in SS1 at Darussalam Islamic Academy in Maiduguri. His director speaks on Yakubu's character and academic performance during his time at the academy.
Late Yakubu Fanami was an average student actually, very jovial and friendly, and very punctual, and always at the forefront of sport activities in the school. He was like a normal child, a happy child.
Then the next day when we came, they told us that Yakubu was late. I was saying, what happened to that boy? They said that day he went around, even the nanny saw him that day moving with my son. So the next day it was very sad for us. That day we could not even teach very well. Students were crying and his face was just coming round. I was just remembering that, but it was a very sad incident, to be sincere.
I was just sleeping when they knocked at our house. They said they are looking for Abdul Jabbar. I just came out. The first thing I saw, the first person was crying. That is in person of Abandos. He was crying. He told me that your friend is gone. I said, what? We just met yesterday. And he said he is not living in Fafaf. He is going to Kaleri, his grandmother's house. I said, what happened? He said, the last night boom. It was Yaku. Then I started crying.
This is the mosque where the incident happened. These two men are witnesses.
Problem da ake yawo da bom
Yakubu was one of our very first members that was in charge of maintaining this mosque. When the Boko Haram crisis was very high and the bomb blast was rampant, at exactly 4 a.m., our caller saw one lady close to the mosque, and she was approaching the mosque as fast as she could, and she was behaving very strange. She was the one that carried the bomb, and Yakubu was the first to reach where she was, and the bomb exploded with him. He died at the process. That is how the whole people in the mosque started running sporadically. At that night, the bomber was wearing a red veil. And Malam Yakubu asked me to check the lady that was approaching. So while she was unable to speak, Yakubu tried to chase her. That was when she exploded the bomb. I got injured, but I survived the incident after spending 3 months in the hospital.
Yakubu Fanami represents the power of courage, selflessness, compassion, and the profound impact that one individual can have on a community and the world. For now, his mother has to rely on the positive attributes and qualities of her son as shared by members of his community.
And in business news, the president and chairman of the Board of Executive Directors Islamic Development Bank, Dr. Muhammad Al-Jassa, says that the bank is charting the course of humanity globally. Jassa made the remark at the official opening press conference of the ongoing 2023 annual meetings holding in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. He said that the lingering effects of the COVID-19 pandemic has been challenging in the previous year, and the uncertainty caused by the Eastern European crisis heightens the risk of debt unsustainability in many low-income countries. And on the foreign scene, the United Nations on Thursday urged countries with influence in Africa to help end the conflict in Sudan after reported progress in truce talks between the army and the rival paramilitary rapid support forces. Clashes rocked Halfaya, an entry point to the capital, early on Thursday as residents heard warplanes circling over Khartoum and its adjoining sister cities of Bari and Omdurman. But the fighting appeared calmer than on Wednesday. In public, neither side has shown it is ready to offer concessions to end the conflict that erupted suddenly last month, threatening to pitch Sudan into a civil war, killing hundreds of people and triggering a humanitarian crisis. UN Sudan envoy Volker Turk said in Geneva that both sides had trampled international humanitarian law and urged all states with influence in the region to encourage by all possible means the resolution of the crisis. And now in sports news, Super Eagles head coach Jose Peseiro has tasked the Golden Eaglet to go all out for a win in Thursday's encounter against Burkina Faso. The Golden Eaglets and Young Stallions will lock horns in a quarter-final clash at the ongoing 2023 Africa Under-17 Cup of Nations in Algeria. The encounter, slated for the Nelson Mandela Stadium, Algiers, will start at 8 p.m. Nigerian time. The winners and 3 other countries will host Africa's flag at the 2023 FIFA Under-17 World Cup. And that's it for the news summary. You can watch more via all our news update, rather. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.